So that was Andy Ritchie, former Premier League striker, who's your boss at Barnsley. You also played under Brian Robson. I mean, what a legend of the game he is. Did you take anything from some of the managers that you played under during your playing career that maybe you see today that helped form you as the manager you are now? Or
yeah, Brian Robson was just, I just remember I'd obviously had dealings with him at United as a young lad. He was, Robbo, captain.
He's still like that now. You go around Old Trafford, he walks into the room. It's him and Sir Alex are the only two people.
So he had
where
that as a manager. That's what he was. You went anywhere as a team, an away team, and the away fans are there. There's more away fans than there are home fans. You know, who travel to support you around your bus because they all want Brian Robson. Which when you're there as a young lad, you don't necessarily, you take for granted you're in around it. But being a player getting off the bus and just everyone just swarming Brian Robson, you understand. You know, but as a person, just so down to earth and normal guy, but absolute superstar in football terms.
Is this when I can bring up the Man United youth? I mean, Hecky, when I've researched you, I didn't know you played for Man United youth. What was that all about?
Yeah, do you know it's just the best place I went because it was different.
At what age? What age was that?
Well, you couldn't sign to a club until you were 14. 'Cause it was schoolboy forms then, so schools had priority till you were 14, and then. So I was Barnsley boys going all over the country trialling and things, and didn't like a lot of it. I just didn't. Where I went, I enjoyed being at Ipswich. Ipswich were fantastic, but and if that had been closer, I'd probably signed there. But then went to United, and I just liked the feel of the place, and just thought it'd be the best place to go and learn, and it was because that helped me. I was under no illusions that we weren't going there to get in the first team. It was going there to play alongside these players, these coaches, be at that club, and with the belief that had set me up better to have a good career.
How close were you to the class of '92? So all the players involved there, I've written them down. Don't really like talking about United players, but here we go: Beckham, Giggs.
He played for Preston. Beckham's fine.
Neville brothers. I mean, you were around the sort of youth.
Phil was my age. So Phil, my age.
Why weren't you in the class of '92 then?
No, it was Phil.
Robbie Savage was he
playing out? Yes, well, but they were sort of the class of '93 really, because they won the Youth Cup in '92, but they were first year scholars. So Giggs, Colin McKee, Kev Pilkington were like the class of '92 age group wise.
O'Kane as well.
John O'Kane, but they, like I said, but then in '93 they got to the final again and lost to Leeds. Lost to Leeds. So that was like the class of '93, and their team: John O'Kane fullback, Phil Neville fullback, Chris Casper, Gary Neville centre-backs. Midfield 4.
Thornley.
Ben Thornley, Keith Gillespie, Nicky Butt, David Beckham. Front 2, Paul Scholes, Robbie Savage. And that youth team got beat off Leeds.
So Paul Scholes and Robbie Savage were strikers?
Yeah, they played there.
But then 2 years later, '95 won it again against Spurs on penalties. So did you play in the Youth Cup?
Yes, I played every round till then, but I'd been released. So
in that year they won it against Spurs?
So the semi-final was against... I want to say Wimbledon, I think it was. And then I got released, and boss Sir Alex was the one who spoke to young players. I got released, and I remember speaking to Eric Harrison about it because Barnsley invited me in on a trial, but I knew I'd missed the Youth Cup final if I went. So Eric's like, look, it's entirely up to you. You've worked so hard to be part of this final. He said, but this could be the next part in your career, you know, at a club you're on. So I went on the trial. Danny Wilson was the manager at the time, who now I know really well. So I went on the trial to Barnsley. Didn't get a contract there, and then missed out on the Youth Cup final. I went through on the night and watched, so I was on the pitch with them all. But so that's disappointing. When I look back, I'd have loved to have been on the photo with my kit rather than just, you know...
Probably deserve a medal, because you played in the
I don't know if I got, mate. No, we didn't, so far I can't remember.
So did Sir Alex Ferguson speak to you about leaving? Did he sort of pull you and say, listen, it's not...
He was the one who gave the news, yeah.
So how did he say that? And because he's one of the greatest managers sort of in history, certainly in our game, have you taken what he took to maybe tell other players as well?
I can't remember what he said to me. I just think the fact that the dynamic of like young footballers has changed. I went to the academies, but we were all at the cliff all together. But Sir Alex knew everyone. He knew my parents, you know, my granddad. He knew everyone there. So I think that's important. So that connection between, to get players into the first team, you need a connection from the academy to the first team, and that's what United had at that point. And he was the driving force behind that, definitely.
Were you surprised to see some of those players go on to achieve what they achieved? Mel's has listed some of the class of 92
they just
there.
made it harder for everyone else. They did. I think even the ones we've not named there was another however many in their age group. Every one of them got a pro contract. It was almost like, how can we, out of these 14 players, how can we not give every one of them a pro deal? So every one of them got a pro contract. So yeah, they were the standard bearers, but for me they deserved it. When you see the extra training, we might be doing extras, scholars on an afternoon, and Gary Neville will come and join in, David Beckham come join in. You know, look at all the caps they've got. It's not, they're talented people, but it wasn't fluke that they got where they did. It was all practice. It was all hard work.
Have you ever seen them since? Like sort of talking recent times, Gary Neville, Becks, that sort of thing?
Gary Neville a couple of years ago, yeah.
Let on to you or blank you?
No, good as gold, yeah. Oh, they were all good as gold, yeah. But he was on one of the coaching courses. Keith, when I was up at Sunderland, was at Newcastle. Yeah, so I lived with Keith in Diggs for a bit. Yeah, so I can't remember. I'm probably missing people out I've seen. Yeah, Phil Neville as well, when he was doing the England setup before he went to the States. Phil was probably one who knew the most because he was in our age group, do you know what I mean? And then our youth team. Yeah, but no, it was good. Yeah, like I said, good times, and set me up well with the standards they set, I think, for my career later on.
You end up starting your pro career at Sunderland. Few loan spells actually when you were there, one of them to Darlow, and then you end up moving to Darlington permanently. How important are loan spells for young players to help them gain experience?
Can be huge. So in my individual case, so I'd been there 2 years, I think. The first year, Roker Park lived round the corner in Diggs, and we got promoted to the Premier League. Didn't really get a look in around it training, but didn't get a look in. The next season was the last at Roker Park, and we were also in the Premier League. Got on the bench a few times, never got on.
Was that Peter Reid time?
Yeah. A real good group, and it was a big step for me because I'd gone from being in the youth team to all of a sudden you're in a first team squad. Yeah, but I never got on. So you're in around it, and you're 2 good years in the Premier League, but I'm still not playing first team football. So so the following year, everyone thought it was right for me, and so did I, to go out on loan. And so I went to Scarborough first in League Two, and ended up staying for the season. We got in the playoffs, and I came back the following season, and I wanted to be playing. I needed to be playing. It not got me any closer to the first team, so it was a case of, I knew I was on my way out then, and Sunderland were good in helping me keep going and getting loans until I found the right club, and then I saw that as the start of my career really, once you're a first team player.
Some move though, isn't it, from Darlow to Norwich? That was what you did, wasn't you? You got from Darlington to Norwich. Yeah,
well, I played a lot of games by that point because that's all I wanted to do, and it was a year after the Bosmans had come in, so I was 24 then. I'd just turned 24, and let my contract run out. I think actually Preston might have been interested in me as a player then. I think it was Norwich, Preston and Burnley.
Made the wrong choice, mate.
No. Well, what happened was ITV Digital had just collapsed as well, hadn't it? So those contracts that were there were just all dragged away. So the only one really was Norwich, but loved it down there. Played some of my best football down there, but I couldn't get in the team at left back. Adam Drury was left back and won Player of the Year. So I think all my games I played there, I ended up playing midfield again. So and again, I'd worked hard to get to the Championship, and I wanted to play. So it was a year I spoke to Nigel Worthington, and Bradford had come in for me at that point in the Championship, and I was like, I want to go and play. I need to go and play.
I played against you the following season.
Bradford.
2003, 2004. Upton Park, West Ham v Bradford.
Oh yeah.
Can you remember the score?
I can, and I can remember who scored.
Go on then.
Jermaine Defoe scored 1-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, still my favourite ground, that.
We got booed off at half time. It was 0-0. And we were all talking in the dressing room because we'd actually played all right. We just couldn't score. They're booing us because the expectation was to turn Bradford over by 3 or 4. We ended up winning the game 1-0.
But we had some decent players. We had some good senior pros who'd been about. Do you know what I mean? Our problem was off the pitch started to affect us because we went into administration and that season, and the morale just.
I played 19, you played 19. We probably had a little battle there. Yeah. You probably won all the edges that day.
I can't remember if I played.
Any footage?
I might have played centre back actually. We might have played
90 minutes. I looked. So you played 90 and I played 90.
I could have. We might have played a back 3. I might have been centre back in that game.
We had 3 up top. It was Defoe, Connolly, and me. So
who's the weak link there?
Not same. I played 90, JD. You got the winner though.
Yeah, I remember that game because that's one of my favourite grounds. Yeah, definitely. So I remember that.
But the next season, when you were at Sheffield Wednesday, was your most prolific for a left back. Now let's test your memory. You scored 4 league goals that season.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you remember any of those goals? I've written them all down.
I can remember one away at Bournemouth because my first daughter had been born the day before we travelled.
90th minute equaliser at Bournemouth.
Corner from that side, header that way. I can remember a header against. Oh no, I can't.
Talking Sheffield Wednesday. So you got the equaliser against Bournemouth in the January. You got another goal in the January.
Must have been
at Hillsborough, 4-0 win. So it wasn't a winner.
Oh, that was from a corner as well, but I can't remember who that was against. Brentford.
Wrexham,
can't remember that.
Wrexham. Away at Torquay.
Oh, I remember that one. That was my first goal there.
It's just opened up for him. Fine save by Dearden. There's Heckingbottom. And that is that. Sheffield Wednesday hit 4. And it's the substitute Paul Heckingbottom who really has finished this game off.
Yeah.
And the last one was a winning goal. You actually got in the playoffs by 2 points. You got the equaliser at Bournemouth for Wednesday that season. Yeah. And you got the last a winning goal. It wasn't a last minute, 52nd minute winner at Hillsborough against Peterborough, 2-1. Remember that?
No.
He said
before 4 goals that season.
Before we started recording, he said, "I'm not going to remember anything about any of these games."
No, I'm not playing. I can't remember.
He did well to remember that West Ham game. I think.
Yeah, but I remember West Ham. I remember Defoe score. I remember I like playing down there, Upton Park.
Well, that was big because Wednesday got in the playoffs that year. We talk about expectation, big fan base there. You end up getting promoted at Millennium Stadium. You played in the game against Hartlepool. Memories of that?
Yeah, we should have been out of sight at half time. Was it 1-0 at half time or 0? We should have been out of sight. And we were 1-0 up in the second half. I remember after 60 minutes, all of a sudden, they were 2-1 up, chances from nowhere. It's like, where's this come from? And then they started defending for their lives. They obviously got some belief from that then. And I remember, Paul Sturrock made a couple of changes. Steve McLean came on, who'd been injured, been one of our main strikers. We got a penalty, scored it 2-2, and then Drew Talbot came on, and it was like that sort of knocked the belief out of him, and we ended up winning 4-2 in the end, extra time. Yeah.
You liked Millennium Stadium, didn't you? Because you were back there 12 months later to get promoted with Barnsley.
Yeah, that was Swansea.
That's about promotions.
Swansea 2-2, and then that went to penalties. Yeah.
And what happened in the penalty shootout?
Yeah, we won. I think we scored all 4. I took one. I took one. Yeah, we scored. I think we scored all 4, and they'd missed a couple. So yeah, we won that one. Yeah. So yeah, big. And listen, I said before that's why you play to win, to get promotions. But that was a big one for me with it being Barnsley because, listen, I'd grown up a Barnsley fan, season ticket holder, I'd been mascot for them. So to then play for them was a big thing. To get promoted with them and then to go on and manage them and get promoted with them was a big thing. Yeah.
Last question on goals. You scored 1 goal for Barnsley. Where was it? And what was the score?
I know that. That was Tranmere.
Yeah.
1-0.
1-0. Winning goal away at Tranmere.
Yeah. Your memory's not as bad as you let on, to be fair.
Certain things, but certain things. There's certain instances in games as well you remember.
I mean, what's it like winning the playoffs? Because North End have had a bit of pain with the playoffs over the years. North End have won playoffs in the past. Yeah. How different is it?
Totally different. You've got to embrace what it is. It's a cup final after 46 rounds and then a 2-legged semi. That's what it is, and there's no cup competition like that. That's what it is. And it's the best way to go up simply for the fact that everything's on the line on that one game. If you took that uncertainty away and you knew you'd get promoted via the playoffs, obviously the experience wouldn't be the same. So, yeah, I think it's the fact that after 46 games, 2-legged semi, everything just rests on one game.
In terms of what you want to achieve with Preston, we've already touched upon it earlier on. Being a playoff side, Mel's mentioned it, it's been a long time since that was the case. Have you sat the lads down and said, this is our aim, or have you kind of left the table clean, as it were, and just said, right, let's try and achieve something?
Our aim's to improve, our aim's to improve, and there's going to be different things asked of the players, naturally. But I think that's only right, do you know what I mean? Different things have to be asked of the players, and then we have to see how they respond, and then you're making your judgments and your decisions from that. But yeah, I think one thing that will come across the players from me that we can have no fear. There's an internal expectation that we're going to give our best to climb up this league, and like I said, gradually the team will evolve to help us get closer and closer.
Played for Sheffield Wednesday, secured promotion, managed Sheffield United, secured promotion. Quite a unique position that you're respected by both sets of supporters in the city. That must be quite a nice thing for you.
Yeah, listen, I've given, wherever I've been, I've given my best, so yeah, but it's not always the case. We were speaking before about social media, and sometimes people who comment on football, maybe don't understand that, but yeah, of course, to win things is the big thing, and that's what I take great satisfaction from, and it is different being a manager than a player. Like, you look after yourself. Probably only remember the promotions on reunions and things, those teams when you get together and you're telling stories about certain games or nights out or things like that. So, but I think if you've managed and done that in those moments, there's less people to share those things with. There's probably only your closest staff who get to know exactly what's gone off. And not even your family sometimes. I don't take work home with me, so not even that. They're obviously proud when you do that, but yeah, I think it's just you sit back yourself and you're happy that you're giving your best and it's
Neil
worked.
Mellor scored! Preston take the lead, and that's exactly what it means to Neil Mellor to score in the West Lancashire derby.